classrooms, indoor and outdoor play space, kitchen, and customary accessory uses. Maximum children of the license is 140. Maximum employees would be 32, which includes 28 full-time and 4 part-time, and then additional seasonal employees as well. Hours of operation, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. As part of any conditional use, the general considerations for this would essentially be, the findings would have to be that the particular use will not violate the spirit or intent of the ordinance or code, be contrary to the public health, safety, or general welfare, or be hazardous, harmful, noxious, offensive, or nuisance. So that's essentially it. You have my list of suggested conditions starting on page 3. The only thing that I would add, essentially, that I'd forgotten to add was that we should add a condition that they maintain a state license going forward, and then obviously it's got to be updated for the new ownership as well. There's one condition in here that I think was a carryover from an old one, and that's condition 5 that talks about vehicle storage, hazardous chemicals. I suggest we strike that one because that doesn't apply to their specific use. But other than that, I don't have anything else.
Any comments from the public? Come forward and state your name and address.
My name is Judith Holmes Jensen. I live in, actually, Milwaukee. My address is 10051 West Ruby Avenue, Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. I am the moderator of the Vernon Administrative Commission, which was put into place by the Presbytery of Milwaukee when the church closed. And so we've been overseeing the workings of the daycare since. I only wanted to mention that the new foundation that has been created will not be purchasing the daycare, we will be gifting it to them.
Oh, gotcha.
All of the assets, both physical and financial, and the land, and all of that will be gifted to them.
They will be the new owners, though.
They will be the new owners once everything's in line.
Okay, thank you. Any other public comments? Plan Commission? Any questions, concerns? Village Board?
The only question I had, Jefferson, and Sean's already answered that in the email, whether or not the state has to approve for the licensing first before we do a conditional use. You said no problem.
Yeah, we can approve this conditionally on them getting that license, right?
All right, if there are no other comments, close the public hearing. Moving on to discussion and possible action of the request from Amber Carlton in care of Vernon Child Development Center for the property owned by United Presbyterian Church of Vernon to apply for the conditional use permit to continue the existing Child Development Center. Discussion and possible action. Plan Commission, we want to make a motion to approve with 2 changes in the conditions stated.
I'll put forth the motion to approve with the changes that Sean brought up.
Second by
What's that? Oh, Dylan.
Dylan. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Village Board? Is there a motion to concur with Plan Commission's recommendation?
I'll make a motion to concur with their decision.
Motion made by Trustee Finch,
I'll second.
second by Trustee Hurt. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
That's it? You're welcome to hang out.
We just didn't know what it was going to be like.
So we will get you the permit in the next couple of weeks, a week or two, the actual conditional use permit.
Okay.
So that'll be an issue.
Is there anything I have to do after that for you?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Nope. Because once I file it, I'll make sure that you get a documented file for your records, once it's recorded, because you'll want that.
Yeah, and I'll use that to do the childcare
Right.
thing.
Yeah, and you don't have to wait till it's recorded. I don't think you do. Call the state to see if they need it recorded.
I do need it.
Okay,
before
okay.
I apply,
Okay. It'll take a little while to draft that, but then,
but that's fine.
Okay.
We've been waiting a long time, so we can wait a little longer.
Moving on to discussion and possible action to the request from Jose Alpizar for the property owned by Alpizar Property located at W224 South 6800 Guthrie Drive, Big Bend, 53103, identified by property's tax key VNT 2017981 and VNT 2017982 for a final certified survey map. Sean, you want to explain this one quick?
Sure, yeah, pretty quick. We approved back in January of this year a conditional use for the petitioner for a contractor's yard on the property. One of the conditions of a contractor's yard essentially is that all parts of the operation have to be at least 30 feet from all property lines unless the plan commission would choose to, to reduce that. So one of the conditions of approval essentially was him to modify his lot lines. He owned two properties side by side. The one with the buildings was on the west side, and then the vacant one to the east. Again, I apologize, I can't show the overhead. Rather than slightly adjusting the lot lines to make room for the operations, he's reconfigured the two properties so that the dividing line runs east-west. So lot one's in the north, that's about 7.2 acres. Then lot two with the buildings and the conditional use is 5 acres to the south. Which has access to Guthrie Drive. So it meets all the conditions of our zoning ordinance. It meets the condition of approval from the conditional use. Our surveyor had a couple of very minor comments on here that have to be updated before the CSM is signed. I'd mentioned in my staff report that the village signature block needs to be updated with the correct village president and village clerk. And the only other thing that I had wanted to point out is that these are both county roads. So access to the county roads isn't approved by the village, it's approved by the county. He's already got an existing access point to Guthrie Road for the conditional use contractor's yard, and the county already provided us information that that was okay. No intersection improvements were needed. But I just wanted the petitioner to run this by the county to see if there'd be any restrictions put on lot one. I understand that the petitioner has contacted, the petitioner's surveyor has contacted the county and has received correspondence. I haven't seen it yet, basically saying that it's okay as is. But I would just state that this wouldn't be signed and recorded essentially until we get written correspondence from the county that what they're asking for is okay here. Part of this is also dedication of roadway on National Avenue in Guthrie to the county as well. So it makes perfect sense. This is a better layout for future development. They're more regularly square-shaped parcels rather than long strips, so I don't have any additional comments. I guess the only other thing that I want to add in relation to some background for the contractor's yard, this condition had to be satisfied. The other condition that still has to be satisfied that isn't yet is the landscape plan. That was part of that for the southern lot line. That's forthcoming. I think the petitioner was waiting for the CSM to get done and recorded. There's no operations out here right now, so once that landscape plan is approved, this is recorded, he'll be ready to go.
Plan Commission, any questions, concerns? Village Board? All right, Plan Commission, want to make a motion to, are there any conditions left to listed there, Sean?
There's just 3 conditions there.
Okay, two conditions.
there's the 3 conditions as stated by the planner.
Yes. Is there a
It is-
motion to that effect?
Quick question first, and I think, so, the number 2 would say basically, we need Waukesha County to say, yes, we see somewhere, whether it's off of Guthrie or National, that you're gonna be able to access the parcel, correct? Is that?
Or if they wanted a restriction placed on that lot saying no access here or access here only. So whatever they want, we'll throw in.
But they would have to obviously have access from one of the 2.
One of the 2, yeah.
Yep. I'll make the motion to approve with the staff recommended 3 comments.
Seconded by trustee Newman. Did you have a question quick before we approve it?
I just wanna say when the survey guy meet Jason on the property, and they all leave all these together, so.
Yeah, but we still need something in
Yeah, I
writing
know.
that kind
Yeah,
of
we tried to
says.
get a hold of Jason, but I think he's out of town, so.
Okay. Yeah, we just won't be able to record it
Yeah, I
and
know.
sign it until we get that.
Yep.
All right, motion's made second. Any further questions? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes unanimously. Village Board, motion to concur with Plan Commission?
I'll make the motion.
Motion made by trustee Newman, second by trustee Hurd. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion? Aye. Opposed, motion passes unanimously.
This was easy.
It was too easy.
Yeah, it's very.
Alright, moving on to authorize village president to complete and correct an instrument to a property located at W243S7790 Evergreen Drive. Sean, you
Yeah,
wanna-
you're good. Yeah, I don't have a ton of background information on this, except when these parcels were created, there was an adjustment to property lines based on meets and bounds descriptions. At some point in time, there was an error in the actual description, so where they'd intended to dedicate roadway to the village, they also included a portion of the parcel inland that mentioned dedicating roadway inland, which doesn't make any sense at all, so this is a simple correction instrument that'll be filed with the county register of deeds, correcting that error in legal description. The village still has their road, doesn't change that, it's just internally, they're not required to dedicate a roadway, which was never the intent.
We'll need 30 feet in back of the property.
No need.
Would that only be a village board action?
I
Sean?
think, yeah, I think it's just a village board action.
Just authorizing President Millies to sign the instrument of correction for the property?
Correct.
I'll make the motion.
Motion made by trustee Newman, second by
I'll second it.
trustee Finch. Any further discussion, questions? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Discussion and possible action on village board's participation in planning. I kind of brought that.
Yep, you
up.
did.
Yeah. It seems like we have a lot of duplication. I just wondered if Sean had any ideas what we could do to streamline processes.
Well, one of the things that does help streamline it is that you meet in the same day, right? So if you have a joint meeting where you can get business done quickly, that's kind of nice. I mean, some communities gotta wait a week or 2 weeks for between plan commission and board.
It used to be like that, but yeah.
It's a little redundant because you all discuss the same things at the same time, but it's a trade-off, I think, because, you know, you get done, you know, immediately, so.
It just seems like a lot of nights, we need both groups here, where it'd be nice
If there's no public hearing, we wouldn't need both groups here, and we could push those items onto the board 2 weeks later, right, or is it a week or 2 weeks?
Sometimes it's just a week.
Yeah, I mean, so if there's no public hearings on the agenda, we don't have to have the joint meetings, and that's how we did it for a long time. I
Right.
think. We didn't have the joint every time,
Right.
only when there's public hearings.
Do most communities, site plan of operation go to the boards, or are they just plan commission?
Everybody's different, I mean, it all depends, sometimes the board, you know, looks at conditional uses, looks at rezonings, and the plan commission handles site plan of operation, signage, you know, more minor things, but the big things, you know, or the things that require hearings would go to the board, but our ordinance, you know, we recently updated our ordinance and we tweaked some of that, so, I mean, that kind of lays out who does what, so that's the idea. But I would agree that if the board doesn't want to be here for, you know, the twice, if there's no public hearing, you might as well just wait to the board
Yeah.
meeting for those.
Well, it's like a lot of times too, it's like, why do we even have plan commission if the board's got to approve it?
Right. Well,
You know, so it just kind
Yeah.
of seems like a lot of doubleness.
the one thing the plan commission does approve without the board is accessory buildings. That's one of the things you do. If you had a mind to take some other things away from the board, we could look at those, if it's site plan stuff, or maybe it's site plans where there's no new development. right? So it's just a change in business where someone moves into an existing building and that could potentially be just approved by the planning commission instead of the board too. Or signage seems like such a no-brainer, right? That if you follow the rules of the ordinance and what's in place, that doesn't have to go to the board necessarily. The planning commission can probably handle that too.
Yeah, just trying to come up with ideas on what we can do to simplify and,
I don't know, anybody else have thoughts on some of the things that we review and what might be better served planning commission only, or what needs to go to the board?
I'm here no matter what, so I really don't care.
Some of you are here no matter what.
it's like Dan Nowak would have been good because he had a lot of issues with a lot of, doubleness of it all.
Yeah, he felt that, what's the sense of having a plan commission if all they do is recommend to the board?
No, I agree. If I'm making recommendations, I would say signs goes to the planning commission, accessory buildings to the planning commission. Site plan of operation review with no new development goes to the planning commission, and then everything else.
Yeah, you really would need the board for rezoning.
Rezoning, conditional uses, and then developments. Actually developing a site, I think should also get board approval.
Right. And the only reason that is because if you, meaning the board, approves something, you could be recalled, but plan commission, there's no recourse. If plan commission, no disrespect to a plan commission, but if you make an adversarial decision,
there's no ramification.
Yeah, nobody can, yeah.
CSMs and plats too have to also get approved by the board too, so, I don't know. Right now, it's only accessory buildings, plan commission, but if we did signage and then plans of operation without site plans,
That'd be.
makes sense. And then only do joint meetings if there's a public hearing, otherwise keep them separate.
Yeah.
How often is there a public hearing?
You have,
Well,
tonight,
for the last 9 months.
Yeah, it seems mostly, we do have.
Yeah,
A C or a rezoning or a CSM.
right,
Well, CSM's not a public hearing.
right. And that we could always put off. The planning commission could make a recommendation, and the following week the board could take it up. The board wouldn't have to be there for that.
So that will take a couple tweaks to the ordinance to take some things away from the board. But in the meantime, you can just start having non-joint meetings if there's no public hearing.
Right, that's the problem, is there's the public hearing. But you could excuse the board after that, after the public hearing is done,
Yeah.
or the action.
Could do that.
Either that or start doing Thursday meetings after plan commission on Wednesday night, I don't know.
The one thing to remember though is Sean would only be at plan commission meetings versus being at both board meetings and plan commission. But I mean, if we have two representatives from the board on that as well, they could,
With my staff report, you'd have enough,
Yeah. All right, something we can tweak a little bit here and there.
Have a board meeting after the planning commission?
If it's a light board meeting, yeah.
So we still have a number of changes for the zoning ordinance that we've been collecting, right? So
Yeah,
we could always tag this on to the next time we crack it open too.
Yeah, no rush, just start working towards a little more efficiency. All right, moving on to Village Board and Joint Plan Commission approval of meeting minutes from July 10th, 2024. Old ones.
Yes, they are.
I did have one change. I don't think Jim Swanee was on the board at the time.
No.
It says he has an excused absence.
July. They were so old that you have to really remember who was there or not. These weren't this wasn't my responsibility.
Was he there?
No. No, because he was elected in,
Well, this is July 10th, 24.
yeah, so Jay would be there.
Jay, you,
Yeah.
me, Jeff, and she was present.
Yeah, Slaney wasn't there.
So Swanee wasn't there, but who? Someone wrote it in.
Jay would, if he was there.
Well, Jay's listed.
Am I
Yeah,
listed?
Jay's listed. It just
Am I
says
listed?
petition. Yeah, you're listed.
How about,
Dylan would
I
be.
could just look with him.
Yeah, it doesn't even say that Jim was present or anything. It just says that he had an excused absence.
I'll take that, that's no big deal, I'll take that out.
Yeah.
That's the only change I had.
I think there's one more that you have to go back to last year that you have to approve,
That's
Well,
it? Finally?
I think. But this would be the plan commission right now.
Oh, we're keeping up with what we're doing anyway.
We're trying, oh my God.
We're making progress.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve them with that one change at the plan commission level.
Is there a second? I'll second it. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the minutes from Wednesday, July 10th, with 2024, with that one correction? Aye.
Plan commission? Jamie, you don't have to vote.
Abstain.
Yeah, I have to abstain as well, because I was absent.
Mario,
Oh,
you're abstaining?
It was the one before that, I guess, right?
Yeah, you were at this one. And we need your vote.
Yeah,
Yeah, where are you gonna?
so we got, yeah,
Three,
3 in favor,
and
2
two,
abstaining.
yeah.
Motion passes.
Now
Village
village
board?
board.
I'll make the same motion at the village board level.
I'll second it.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
One abstention. Motion passes. Moving on to the minutes of April 9th, 2025. Anybody find any mistakes, corrections? I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from Plan Commission from April 9th, 2025. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by trustee Duman. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion? Aye.
That was plan commission, right?
Right.
Okay.
Any abstentions?
I do. I have to abstain, present.
And so 2 abstentions again, and
Okay.
3 in favor. Village Board, motion to approve the minutes from April 9th. I'll make the motion again. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by trustee Finch. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
One abstention? Motion passes. Plan Commission, motion to adjourn, or you guys want to stick around?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion, Mario, is there a second? I'll second it. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passed unanimously. Village Board, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Newman, all in favor of the motion? Aye. Opposed, meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.